up, everybody? Welcome to the CCAU2G show. Today we have nothing but facts about credit and spending habits. Okay, credit and spending habits. We all know what credit is, and we all don't have the best spending habits. You hear me? So look, we're going to start off with credit. Pay everything on time. All right, pay on time. Pay every time. Keep credit utilization low. Pay before the statement closing date. Leave old accounts open. Report utility and rent payments, and check your credit report. Basically, all this means is if you have $500 coming in every week, your credit should be $50 to $100 max. Okay, and you should be paying that off within the next 2 weeks. It's not going to do a lot of jumping to your credit score, but ones and twos add up to 100 in the time span of 100 transactions. Okay, 100 transactions can be done in 2 months. So if you want to jump from a 300 credit score to a 700 credit score, you can hit them with the jab. You can just hit them with the 50 payments, car payments, and everything. Um, when it comes to maintaining your credit score, you never want to go over what you are incoming, unless it's just like a tragic event. You lost your job, you got into a lawsuit, you got things going on with family, and you got to just go roll with the punches. But other than that, if it's not no superficial event, please just always check your credit score, report everything, and keep everything on a sheet like Excel, paper. Track everything. You got to track everything. In one of these episodes, I'm gonna show you how to create a spreadsheet on a computer and show you how to make a chart of what you're doing day to day that will help you track your spendings. Which actually just takes us to this whole thing of spending habits. How are you spending your dollars? Uh, and all this information is straight from the internet, straight from Google. I might add my own 2 cents, but it's very helpful, coming from my standpoint of having, a high credit score for over 10 years. But this is what Google said. Adopt the 48-hour rule. This is new to me. Track expenses. Use the 50-30-20 budget. Audit subscription monthly. Shop with a strict list. Automate your savings. Cook meals at home. Review fixed bills annually. What does the 48-hour rule mean? That means wait 2 full days before making a large purchase. What's a large purchase in my opinion? Anything over $75 is a large purchase. Wait 2 full days. And when it goes to the dates, if it's not like a Papa John's or like a Olive Garden, where you getting a special. If it's anything like Roof Chris or Papados, wait, do the 48-hour rule. You're trying to buy a TV, 48 hours. Track expenses. That goes back to what I was saying on the credit report. I'm gonna show y'all how to do the Excel sheet and how to build all that. But you want to track your expenses. It's really helpful, to see where your money's going. Don't just rely on the app, what I'm saying? Rely on what what you can remember, write it down, um, move that written down number to an Excel sheet, print it out, and just, dot what you're doing going on. Audit subscription monthly. That's like Netflix, your music subscriptions. Even though I am a firm believer of paying the artist, so I have my monthly subscription to Apple Music, and I refuse to delete it because I'm going to pay off the artists for their work. But anything like Netflix, Hulu, Disney, um, ESPN Plus, you know, I would say, find a way to, a cheaper entertainment, $10, $15 a month may not seem like a lot, but during hard times, it's very difficult to keep up with that. Shop with a strict list. Yes, indeed. If you can't afford it, don't put it on credit, and that's very strict. Don't go by to the store and buy some hot Cheetos or some Minute Maid juice or packets of syrup just because you want it for the look of the household. uh Strict list. If you have a diet, which I may show y'all how to do that, but that's really doctor based. You got to really step on the scale and get your body mass index going on with all that. I'm not going too deep with that, but with a strict list, you're really buying what you really need. And that goes into the 50-30-20 rule. That 50-30-20 is 50% is needs, 30% wants, and 20% savings and debts. I think we should just go ahead and lower that wants to 10% and boost that needs up. If you need your supplements, if you need your vitamins, if you need your uh more protein, whatever it is, what I'm saying, it just goes on to that list of strictly of wants. I mean, to your needs. Wants is like, you buy a bicycle here and there, or you buy new sneakers, or you buy a new hat. Clothes. I personally believe the wants of wanting to appear more than what you are is needs to be less. You know what I'm saying? So automate your savings, cook meals at home. You can even just go ahead and do away with that cook meals at home. A sandwich doesn't need to be cooked. They got canned foods that just need to be heated up. Little things, because that electricity bill is definitely going to rise to keep or that gas bill, however your stove is hooked up to your house. But however, you do want to go about that, that's personal preference right there. And then review fixed bills annually. Review fixed bills annually kind of ties into, like, your what you want to do at the end. If you want to go on that date that costs like $200, $500, to that may not go into a second date at all. But here we go. We got to check these things out, man. We got to move on with our spending habits. We got to definitely have our credit up high. If you want to